Hey everyone, it's Alexis with Create Your Future. I am back with a brand new video, and today I have a success story to share about a client of mine who manifested major change in her specific person. And in her story, she also talks about the pointers that she wanted to kind of tell everyone, for those of you who are in the middle of the manifestation, and just how she worked through some of the major issues that were showing up in her 3D. Okay, before I get started, the links for booking one-on-one coaching and one-on-one hypnosis are in the box below, as well as links to all of my courses, pre-recorded hypnosis audios. I also want to say that this client, her process was, we did do hypnosis. I haven't talked about hypnotherapy in a recent video, I realize, but why not? Let's add it in today. And I can also talk about how that helped aid her process and the whole thing. Okay, so let me get into the backstory of her situation before I talk about her actual success story. So I want to say that this is a reminder to all of us that you are the creator of your reality, that your mind is a projection which creates the 3D reality that you see, and that we are not to base information and where we're focused on the 3D reality, but that the 3D reality can give you clues and give you hints to what's going on. Also, this is a reminder, like I've said in a lot of my videos and explanations of the mind, that we create reality until we know better, or until we become aware and conscious and understanding of the human experience and what's going on here. We generally create sameness that is a replication of the story that you have in the imagination, or it's a replication of the story that you have within your subconscious mind, or it's a replication of the story in your consciousness, right? So from ages 0 to 7, we are part of the family structure, family environment, or whatever structure it is. For you, that could have been a lack of family. For some of us, it was function, dysfunction, all the things, okay? But when you're 0 to 7 is your imprinting phase for the subconscious mind. From 7 to about 12 or 13, it's reiterating more of the information. And then from 13 or 12 into further, it's reiteration of the same concepts, okay? So as much as we don't like to think of conscious manifesting as it's therapy, and I don't with clients talk about this and look at this as traditional therapy, in discussing what happened before in the childhood to create more of it, but we want to have an understanding. And this client had a really, really good understanding as we began to uncover the layers of the onion in her mind that was showing up in her relationship about what had happened, what had occurred, and what meaning had she drawn, and what thoughts has she held on to that created beliefs and assumptions in her mind about relationships that really began way back when. Now, a lot of clients I have spoken to as they go through the process of coaching, understanding, and in this case, we did do hypnosis, it really uncovers where the problem is, right? And the problem or the wound or the issue or the assumption that we don't want is always something that exists within us. It's not your specific person. It isn't your parents. It isn't society. It isn't the government. It's always you. It's your interpretation, your meaning, your thought, your assumption about reality. And then it creates itself on the screen of space, or the replication of the 3D that is energy. That's what's going on. Okay. So through that process of, we really, through getting to know her, understanding her story and understanding all the things that had happened, and the more that I began guiding her on affirmations that were specific about the issue she was facing, new things began to come out. So also I want to say, if you're doing this and that's happening to you, you're generally on the right track. Generally, as things are changing, as we change things within us, things will come out. The mind will remind you of where things really come from. I can't tell you all the success stories and all the clients I've worked with over the years that as they change, the mind brings up all the reasons and tells you why you haven't changed. So as much as your mind is on your side, keeping you safe, it's also usually held information, kept it deep within you. And until you really begin uncovering the whole topic, which in this case is a relationship. And in this case, it was her husband who had left the house. Now, I've had a lot of clients who have this same scenario. I have never done a success story about this client before, but I have done a lot of videos about this kind of situation. over the years. Okay. So in this particular situation, her husband had left the house and they had 3 kids together. They had 2 boys, 1 girl. They were all under the age of 12. He left the house. He was staying with family friends. He moved into a different state. He really wanted nothing to do with being a father figure. He had really stopped being a husband. And there were a bunch of things going on that as we began coaching, she did use the familiar term, which is the midlife crisis. Okay. And also, if you're a client of mine currently or a client previously, and this has been something we've worked through or you come to me with, then this is still a new success story. Okay. So there's been different themes over the years of people, the things that we have worked through and reworked, but she had the midlife crisis. She also, funnily enough, he really wasn't though midlife. Like he was a little bit younger, but she had used the term midlife crisis because of a lot of the things that she had seen him do. He was out getting a new car. He was doing a lot of shopping. He was spending a lot of money. He was showing a lot of things of having like an identity crisis. Okay. But this was something that we also had to reframe and relearn and re-understand that it again came from her. Now, along her journey, she actually realized that the midlife crisis and the thought of it didn't even begin with him. It began with a lot of other people. And what happened, like I said, in those ages of 0 to 7. Okay. So like it or not, the information that your subconscious mind takes on from 0 to 7 reiterates, becomes an assumption. Now, because our assumptions and beliefs create, we just tend to create more of the same, or something triggers it. And we create the same of what happened way back when, which is in her case, what happened. Okay. So now I can say with honesty, and honestly, I am so proud of her that he has returned. He is changing. He's getting help for his issues. They're seeing the marriage through. They're reworking things. She's working through her own insecurities, her own sense of rejection and abandonment, because she identified that she had both, and things are going along. It isn't picture perfect. It isn't 100% manifested in perfection, but you know, in our 3D reality, we come into the human body to experience the 3D, which most of the times is not going to be 100% la, 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 da, da, da. And what fun would that be, in all honesty? Okay. So there's usually a contrast. There's a dark and a light. There's a positive and a negative. So those, though, are the key points that really helped her propel in her journey. It was identifying what happened 0 to 7, right? Who went into a same kind of scenario that happened 0 to 7? And then how did it get reiterated from 8 to then the other years? And then it created later that the same kind of story was triggered, the same kind of scenario was triggered. So even if these aspects don't apply to your situation with your specific person, you want to be thinking, what beliefs and what assumptions have I taken on about the person that is my specific person? If you're dating a man or dating a woman or someone else, you want to think, what post-its, what thoughts have I attached to them that come from my assumptions and beliefs about who that person is in my reality? Okay. And how have I created this dynamic? How have I created that they leave? How have I labeled that I am the one left out? How have I associated that I am the one who is living in the end of rejection? Wherever you're putting yourself currently is where you're living in the end from. Okay. And so with this client, we really had to fine tune things. And I had her live in the end of different aspects along the way as she recreated the marriage, recreated the relationship. And she also chose to recreate the relationship that he had with the kids, because that was something that also wasn't of complete helper. It wasn't the true desire that she was wanting. Her true desire was having the family that was a family unit, all living together, thriving, happy, having fun, learning, growing, experiencing things, and for her to have the connection, the support, the adoration, and the love and the commitment from him into the future always. Okay. So now that I've said all that, let me get to the success story. Okay. Dear Alexis, thank you so much for all of your kind words recently and for all of your motivation over the months as I have been coaching with you. I am to say now, totally and completely, with all honesty, that I am shocked and I am stunned at so many changes that have happened and manifested in my 3D reality. As I can relate to so many of the success stories that you have had in the past. My husband had left me, and my kids. There are 3 kids. We have 3 kids together. And he had left. He had moved in with family friends that were across the country. And he had decided that our marriage was over, that he had nothing more in his heart, in his life, and in his soul for me, that he wanted a totally new existence, a new reality, a new person, and that he no longer saw himself in love with me. He actually told me multiple times how he had lost all natural feeling for me, and he was not in love with me and wanted nothing to do with me. By the time I came to coaching, I was totally devastated and up in arms about my current situation. Current being then. I had lost all hope about manifesting, and I had already done a bunch of courses and also had the advice to be robotically affirming for what I wanted, but that also caused me to have more anxiety, and it seemed to push things further and further and further away from me. I can now say that by working with you and having you show me that this is my reality, that this all comes from me and my level of consciousness and where I am placing and what I am giving to myself, it really helped push things through all along. I had no idea that I was so insecure and was always tending to go to the feeling of living in the end of being rejected by him. I had no idea that I was still propelling all the thoughts and all the feelings and all the unconscious aspects of me being so unwanted, undeserving, unlikable, unlovable. Now, I also want to say to everyone that my life looked like things were going on. I was having movement and manifesting in my career and in a new piece of property that I had been investing in. And also new things were happening with friends. But with him, when I came to coaching with you, it was completely where I knew it should not be. I had lost all hope, like I said, but now through really understanding myself, diving into the new affirmations, the new intention, and really understanding where all this comes from, I can now say that I am a total and complete success story. And it all happened almost out of the blue. My husband called me one day, and no, it was not in the middle of the night when he was drunk like other times. It was in the middle of the day, confessing his love for me and telling me that he had totally effed up and that he wanted to make it up to me and he wanted to redeclare things with me. He also invited me to go on a very special vacation only with him. And he said that he had convinced his parents to come take care of the kids because he had to make up from all of his mistakes. Gosh, you guys, I'm getting a little teary and a little emotional as I say this success story. Let me get back to it. Okay. I'm so happy for her. Thank you again for all of your help. And I want everyone to know that their manifestations are possible for him. And ... I ended my story there because right after that, it got pretty juicy and pretty intimate. Winky face. Thank you so much for your help along the way. I want everyone to know that to keep on believing in themselves, keep on changing, keep on growing, keep on evolving, and understand that this all comes from you. It has nothing to do with them. XO, see you soon in our next session. Big hugs, and thank you for all the recent videos. They've kept me so motivated. Okay. So yeah, you guys, this is a way to illustrate that it does all come from you, right? And I will tell you, there were multiple times in session with me that she wanted me to get on board with her irritation with him. Okay. She was so frustrated, as she would be, as any of us would be. She was so frustrated. She was so angry. She was so up in arms with the devastation of the rejection and also of the kids being involved. Okay. So I have had so many clients over the years that I've worked with who have children or a child, multiple kids, a family that is involved because of what the SP has done to them and done to the kids. But look at this. She was able to rise above it, release the resentment. Thought there was something in my nails. Release the resentment, release the frustration, stay the course. Now, the thing about this too that I want to say is that this took a lot of personal reflection, personal responsibility. And she also termed it really well. Like when she was doing a bunch of affirmations that she had been told to do, she was actually feeling more afraid, more anxious, more worried, and more frenetic. And it was like her energy was chasing after the specific person, right? Once she stopped the chase, stopped the neediness, stopped going after him, telling him what to do, talking about it, trying to convince him. And she really focused on herself and she changed the inner conversation about her with her and then therefore about her with him. Everything began to be unfolding. Okay. So it didn't take like a couple affirmations that had happened overnight, but it did eventually happen overnight through her persistence of herself and her dedication to herself. Okay. So as a reminder, you guys, your mind has 3 components. And as your conscious mind, which is about 5 to 7% of who you are, your subconscious mind, which is 90 to 95% of who you are, in between the two, is a critical filter, is a critical faculty that is there to protect you. Okay. Oftentimes what I think is happening is people are doing these like anxious driven affirmations, and it's not really filtering. It's not embedding into the subconscious mind. Now, I've been asked this too. Alexis, how do I know if my new thoughts are embedding in the subconscious mind? Well, generally speaking, you might feel different. You will shift into being the version of you that embodies those thoughts and thinks these thoughts and feel these thoughts. But not to put time as a constraint on anyone, because time is a human construct, a human illusion anyways, but this takes practice and how to understanding how do I speak to myself in a way, how do I think my reality into a way that works for me, that I feel like resonates with me, and that I feel like allows me to change. What you don't want to be doing is this. I don't believe in the affirmation, therefore it's not working. For the affirmation to become a belief, we need to think it, and we need to have the same thoughts, the same repetitive viewpoint, the same perspective, changing along the way as things unfold. But we need to have the same thoughts in order for it to become a belief and assumption. If you're doing a list of new thoughts that are tailored to your situation and you don't believe them, right, you shouldn't believe them, because if you believe them, we wouldn't have to think them and they would already be happening. Like I use this analogy with a client this week. You and I, whoever's watching this, and we agree and we believe that the sun comes up, the sun comes down, right? We believe and we know that the sky is blue and the sun is yellow, orange, whatever you want to call it, okay? So see how that's a belief. It's an assumption that something is what it is. Like this pen in English is the color gray, okay? That's an assumption that we know, that we identify that's what it is. Your assumptions and your beliefs need to be the same, a solidified part of you, part of the unconscious mind, in order to replicate out into your screen of space that is your 3D reality, okay? So you really want to get out of the jargon of overanalyzing your thoughts and thinking, I need to believe this for it to work. No, we want to resonate and be one with the affirmations and be feeling the affirmations, deciding the affirmations, affirming the affirmations, persisting in the affirmations to create the new reality. So really, in a short-winded way, get out of your own way. I encourage you this week to quiet the mind and overthink less. Become a simple thinker that is focused on the desire, having of the desire, and allowing things to flush out and unfold, and all the reason why this happened, everything. So like this client, she went through this deep process of self-change, of reclaiming of self, of understanding who she truly wanted to be, and of the reasons why all this happened in the first place had nothing to do with him. It had everything to do with her, like it does always. Okay. So that is my video for this week. I think it's a little bit of a short one, but there were so many handy dandy tips in this story and in the truth of the work that we're putting in here and of what you're really doing when you're changing your perspective, changing your thoughts, because your 3D reality, you guys, isn't even real. It is a collection of energetic molecules that you have created and your point of awareness. So let's create and bring into your point of awareness what you're desiring, what really meets your needs, and what really creates that thriving, loving, happy relationship, marriage, and all of it. Okay. So you guys go out this week, celebrate yourself, commit yourself to being thriving, fulfilled, and happy in your reality starting now, because you would be if you had what you want, taking actions, putting yourself first, loving yourself, creating that self-love mechanism within yourself always, and especially when you're recreating the whole thing, right? You want to be able to sit with all the emotions you're feeling. If you're feeling sadness, despair, and hurt, acting like those aren't there isn't the answer either. It's moving through sadness, despair, hurt, just like this client did, to then choose fulfillment and happiness and thriving in the relationship. Okay. All right. That's my video for today. And I love you guys. I will see you soon and have a great week. Bye.